I'll put a link to this. I want you guys to realize there are people out there fighting for your rights every single day. Now, this is a model for the right to keep and bear arms resolution for counties. And this resolution was written for the Virginia counties and quotes from the Virginia State Constitution. She changed the title to be consistent with the principle that the right has a transcendent origin which pre-exists and predates the Constitution. Also says here, it says, if you would like me to address your state constitution, email me at gmail.com. Now, I'll put a link in here so you guys can find this stuff. Okay? This is what you need. It says here, I'm not going to read all this. Whereas the Declaration of Independence is a fundamental act of our founding fathers and part of the organic law of our land, and recognizes that the rights come from the Creator God, and among these rights is the right of self-defense. And it goes on and on and on down through here. You know, it says all federal laws, regulations, judicial opinions, and other edicts from the county at large which pretends to restrict the people in arms in any fashion whatsoever are unlawful as in violation of the Declaration of Independence and are unconstitutional as being outside the scope of powers granted to the federal government in the Constitution of the United States as in violation of the Second Amendment. I'll put it, like I said, I'm going to put a link here. You guys can check this out. This might help you in your quest. Now, yesterday I put up a thing about the preamble of the Bill of Rights. It says it was held in 1789, was ratified in 1791. Said the conventions of a number of the states, having at the time of their adopting the Constitution, expressed a desire in order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers that further declaratory, it means, you know, they are declaring, and restrictive clauses should be added. And as extending the ground of public confidence in the government will best ensure and benefit the end of its institution. Resolved that the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled, 2/3 of both houses concurring, that the following articles be proposed to the legislation of several states as amendments to the Constitution of the United States, all and or any of the articles when ratified by 3/4 of the said legislators to be valid to all intent and purposes as part of the said Constitution. I put that up yesterday so you would understand that, well, here's the best way to do it. It's a preamble. They didn't trust mankind. They expressed a desire in order to prevent any kind of misconstruction or abuse of the powers. That's why you have the 10 amendments in there. Okay? This is yeah. That's up on my channel if you need it. You got to remember something, people, and you better get it through your head. The Constitution was written to limit government, not to limit the people. It was to limit government, and they have overstepped their reach for the last 201 years anyway. Mostly because of the interpretation of the Supreme Court, all the way back to 1819 when you had John Marshall in there. I put a video up on that too. That's the problem in America, when these people think that they can give government more power than they already have. Like trying to use the Commerce Clause. Marshall had part of doings in that. He called it interstate commerce, and there's no such thing as interstate commerce in the Constitution of the United States of America. So Congress can't use interstate commerce as a a vehicle to tramp on your rights, and they can't use the necessary and proper clause either, or the general welfare. It's all hogwash. They've been pulling the wool over our eyes for a long time, people. Publius also writes in here, the Second Amendment to the Federal Constitution recognizes that the God-given right to keep and bear arms is to be free from any interference whatsoever from the federal government. Our framers were for an all-armed American people. They understood that arms are our ultimate defense in the event that federal government oversteps its bounds. The reason the citizens and militia are armed to defend ourselves and our family, our neighborhoods, communities, and states from an overreaching, tyrannical federal government. Accordingly, the federal government is nowhere in the Constitution granted the authority to abridge, restrict, or infringe in any fashion whatsoever guns or ammunition. Thus, all restrictive laws made by Congress and all regulations made by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms are unconstitutional as outside the scope of powers granted to Congress and to the executive branch by our Constitution. Restriction of arms and ammunition is not one of the enumerated powers delegated to Congress or to the executive branch. Okay, I'm not going to let this run on and on. I'll put a link to this. This is a model for you people. Understand what's going on. For God's sake, get off of your asses and read the Constitution. It's not that hard to understand. How the Supreme Court can go bonkers over not understanding the Constitution is beyond me. When you have the Declaration of Independence and you have all the Federalist Papers, the original Federalist Papers, on hand to interpret it. And it's common sense interprets the Constitution. That's the way it was set up. Okay, thanks for watching.